We will hereby kick off the public hearing. This is for the additional appropriations. And this is regarding, in connection with the GO bond, the general obligation bond, because the funds from that bond obviously were not in our budget at the beginning of the year because the situation had not presented itself. So by procedure matter, we have to do an additional appropriation. We have to have a public hearing for any additional appropriation. Hence, here we are. So, it's pretty cut and dry. And are there any questions or comments?
No, sir.
Can we explain briefly what we're buying or what?
Well, we're not. Yeah, so it's fun. Our net assessed value had a substantial increase, which gave us the opportunity to utilize increased funding for certain capital projects within the city, which is very clearly stated out that we'll discuss during the agenda. That for sidewalks and park improvements are two main things at the top of the list right now. So that's in essence what it amounts to. It's a bond to secure that. So we'll take advantage of the opportunity. Good question. And I can read during the additional appropriation we vote on, because it's in ordinance form, the subject matter of this appropriation. So I can read that to the general audience when it comes time.
I know someone is going to ask the question, so I'm going to go ahead and ask it. Can we use it to demolish some of the? No.
No, but we've already are working with the county on an avenue and solid waste management on an avenue toward that. So people will start to see some places disappear before too long.
But these are also projects that we've been working on
For a long time. Yeah.
Seeking funding for.
Yeah. Especially playground. We started hearing about the playground in what, 5 years ago, 4 years ago?
But the playground part of it, this is for the grant to have matching.
The match,
funds.
yes. It helps
For
us provide matching
for the
funds.
path.
Well,
Or is it for the
playground equipment and both.
Yeah.
Both. First, number one first is the playground equipment. Getting the playground put in is number one
Okay.
priority. And then the path, if we get funding for the trail, then we would have matching funds for that as well. That's to be seen on the trail. Good question. If there are no other questions, I would hereby close the public hearing at 6:02 p.m. And with that, I would ask everyone to please rise for the pledge and remain standing for the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Heavenly Father, help us to not let those words of the pledge ring hollow. Help us to live out not just the words of that pledge, but any word we say to you. Help us stand behind it and give us strength, Father. Give us guidance, give us wisdom, and help us be good stewards for the funds that are in front of us today, and just what we do in daily life. And that's not just this political body, this government body. It's for each and every citizen in this community, because the community is everybody that resides within it. Not one faction, not one party, not one neighborhood, not one, you name it. It's all of us. And because your heart and your love is equal for each and every one of us, we thank you for that. We thank you for this evening. We thank you for the individuals that are here, and we pray for your blessing and your hedge of protection upon those that have traveled far to be here tonight, and watch over them as they and guide them home safely. And we give you all the glory and all the honor and all the praise. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Amen. Amy, if you would, roll call.
Gary Elliott.
Here.
Bob Leahy.
Here.
Jason Burr.
Here.
Tim Heiss.
Here.
Tito Flores.
Here.
All right. Church, you've had an opportunity to review the consent agenda as presented.
I have 2 points. There's the people. One of the people that participated with me in the reflecting on which city-owned building should be demolished first. I just want to correct the spelling of her name, and can I spell it for you now?
Sure.
So she's Diana Schlechtich, but it's D-E-A-N-N-A and S-C-H-L-E-C-H-T-Y-K. That is one. The second one is there's a sentence that says, it reads as follows, and I'd like to change it. I'll propose the change. So it reads as follows. Tito asked if ADA needs are being met by the residents of Union City, Indiana. So I'd like to strike that sentence and put in the following. Tito asked if ADA compliance was meeting the needs of Union City residents living with disabilities. I can repeat that if you need.
Sure. If you could, please.
So Tito asked if ADA compliance was meeting the needs of Union City residents living with disabilities. Just makes it a little clearer that it's not about, I don't care about ADA, I care that it actually helps the people who need it the most in town.
Any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion with said amendment. Minutes.
I'll move we accept the consent agenda with aforementioned amendments.
We have a first, we have a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Consent agenda approved as presented. Department reports, I just want to give a shout out and thanks to everyone who helped make the weekend festive, Halloween, and really appreciate that. That was wonderful. And this coming, one holiday to the next, this coming Saturday we have a work session at the park for anybody interested in coming. It's there'll be someone out there for sure from 9 to noon. And so community is welcome to join out Harder Park. First place you can go to is the barn on the far left end of the park by the soccer fields on the far west end of the park. And yeah, and so hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate and we'll have a good morning to work. Amy, do you have anything outside of the agenda?
I do have one thing. I don't have the copies with me, but one of the facade grants that we had approved, I do have the copy of her payment that she had made. So
Okay.
if the council's all right with it, we can go ahead and cut that check for her. That was for the, thank you, State Line of Clothing.
Okay.
We already approved that, right? Or did it, did the amount change?
No, it did not change. Like I said, we just didn't have the sign, or the copy of her paid invoice, and yet
So now we have that.
we have that, yes.
So we have a consensus for her to go ahead and submit that payment? So
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
All right. Council members? Tito?
Yes, at the previous Board of Public Works meeting, there was a discussion about the possibility of purchasing a used vehicle being sold by a fire department in British Columbia for $600,000. I assume that's US dollars. Quoting the minutes, it says, Tim, I think that means you, Tim added that transportation, so I'm quoting, Tim added that transportation and brokerage fees are not included in this cost, and that if in the future we would have a consolidation within the county, the city would retain the debt. My question is, what consolidation are we referring to?
It's not being spurred by our end.
And what debt would the city retain if there is a consolidation?
All of it.
What's that?
I said all of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
all of the debt.
The consolidate, and this is pretty vague, but there is potential of consolidation of emergency services, namely fire and EMS, and this is really abstract at this point, but there is talk and consideration of that at some time in the future. This probably more by the state push than anything.
State level.
And so that's more of a possibility than it's been in the past with the changes in legislation and so forth. There's a movement toward that. So that being said, it's probably a little over speculation by me in that response in the meeting, but generally, when you assume that a debt for something like that engine, you're responsible for the repayment of that debt. So
Where
it's
that
where
us
that
as a
would go
city,
is
even
a,
if eventually we're joined up, the EMS services are joined up with the rest of the county, like somebody wants to do state level.
yeah, it's just that it creates a big unknown when you assume some significant debt like that.
Okay.
So, and that prospect is still hasn't moved any farther forward.
So
That's
then,
what
just to
it is.
clarify, did the Board of Public Works decide to make that?
No,
Okay.
no, there's no movement at this point.
And even if they had it, would it come before you guys?
All we would be able to do would be make a recommendation to
Right.
council.
Okay. The only other things happened today on social media. There's a sort of a request or interest in finding out the status of all the homes on the condemned list to see where they are in the whole process. The process involves, contacting the owner, contacting the judge, and figuring out whether we can access it and do this, that, and the other in the budget. So I'm going to send an email about that and get that information. Maybe we can have it available in the next few days. Is that something that you could work with, Steve? Okay, thank you so much. That's all I have. Thanks.
All right. No problem. Tim?
No, other than keep in mind with that request, which is fine, but that some of that information becomes a little fluid. It can be a little bit fluid. There can be changes that by the time that can happen through the process. So it may have some variation. Right now, that list is pretty stable, but there can be some variation. So it's not always perfect.
Okay.
I don't have anything else.
Good. Jason?
I do not.
Bob?
I do not.
Gary?
Nope.
My computer decided to go dark on me, so I'm hoping. Thank goodness I got a hard copy. Steve, anything outside of the agenda? Okay. Old business, we have second reading of ordinance number 2025-11, which are the budget estimates. Amy, I don't recall any edits,
No,
so it's as presented in the first reading.
correct.
So if there are no questions, I would entertain a motion.
I did want to make a comment. So I had asked some questions about the budget estimates, and I think the biggest one that one's Pearl or 2 or 3 that the public was concerned about involves a couple of the larger salaries being split up between the general budget and the water budget and the wastewater budget. And those other two budgets are not available. They're not part of the general budget that we're voting on tonight because they are self-funded, right? So the fees that people pay for water or for wastewater, that's what sustains those, but so that's not part of the tax. It's not paid out of tax. So just to realize, just to note to people that I did follow up with those questions, and I'm getting clear answers. And when I get to see when those other budgets are available, then I might be able to reveal some more information. That's all I have to say about that.
Anything else? If not, I would entertain a motion on second reading by title only.
I'll move we accept ordinance 2025-11 budget estimates on the second reading by title only.
We have a first, we have a second.
I'll second.
Amy, if you would, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott?
Yes.
Bob Leahy?
Yes.
Jason Brewer?
Yes.
Tim Heiss?
Yes.
Jennifer, yes.
Yes.
And another second reading, ordinance number 2025-10, which is the Title VI implementation plan. This is, again, a matter of procedure. We No changes made since the first reading and acceptance on the first reading?
That's the American with Disabilities Act one?
Correct. So barring any questions or comments, I would entertain a motion on that as well.
I'll move we accept ordinance 2025-10, Title VI implementation plan on, by title only on the second reading.
We have a first, and we have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Bob. Amy, if you would, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy,
Yes.
Jason Bird,
Yes.
Tim Heiss,
Yes.
Peter Frias.
Yes.
All right, now we have the second reading, ordinance number 2025-12, which we have some members in the audience for this line item. General obligation bond, which we start off with the public hearing, obviously, an additional appropriation that will be under new business. I want to make sure I don't cut you guys. Is there anything you guys wanted to say or address? Because I appreciate you guys being here, number one, but I didn't know if there's anything you guys wanted to address.
I do have numbers if you want me to walk through them. If not, I don't have to. Unless if people have questions, I can answer them, but I'm more than welcome to walk through the numbers. And
Okay.
Kim, I don't know if you wanted to walk through any of
I
them.
want to walk through her numbers.
Okay, well then let's.
I want to
I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's throwing under the bus or what.
So if you
Okay.
want me to take time to do that, I can.
If you'd like to, sure.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
She does all the heavy lifting and then I follow up with a little.
Ken, this is the first time I think I've gotten to see you without a screen around you.
I know. I know. I do exist just outside of Teams and
They need to
shopping.
this evening.
Yeah. I know.
Got any extras?
Yeah. You good with me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's good reading material at night if you want to go to sleep.
I'm blind.
We'll put it on a podcast for you.
There you
You're welcome.
And Mayor, I can go over after Heidi's done, just kind of the general overview of kind of long-term, where we see this, you know, I think that would be helpful too.
That'd be great. Appreciate that.
Well, thank you for having us here tonight. Heidi Ampsbaugh with Baker Tilly. We are financial advisors for local governments throughout the state. So obviously lots of numbers in front of you this evening. So we'll start with page 2. And as the mayor mentioned earlier, the city's net assessed value has grown significantly going from 25 into 2026. So on the far left-hand side of the schedule, you'll see the city's historical net assessed value. And that's something as city council is really important for you guys to know where you're at and how it's growing. I would say that statewide, we have seen an increase in assessed values because the state assessment division, they have implemented changes into their state codes, which trickles down all into local government assessments. So really throughout the state of Indiana, we saw pretty significant increases. So you can see that yours bumped up about 28.25% going into 2026, which is a pretty significant increase. Also important to look at the city's tax rate. So this is the 4.22. That is the city's portion of the total tax rate that the taxpayers pay. So good, again, for you guys to kind of know where your tax rate's been. And I'll get to on the next schedule what it would have been with or without this proposed bond issue that's in front of you tonight. And then you can see in the right-hand column where the total tax rate is that the taxpayers pay. That total tax rate is the county, the township, school, library, city rate, and any special taxing districts make up that total tax rate. And then the graph, it just shows you visually what the changes look like visually. So again, kind of good just to see, where your AVs have been, where you're going. And whenever you have a significant jump in assessed values, essentially what happens is AVs go up and tax rates come down to get you to the same levy or the budget that you guys have been working with. And that levy and budget only grows by the maximum levy growth quotient that the state prescribes, which for 2026 is 4%. And so in communities that are growing more than 4%, then there's an opportunity to infill the decrease that's happening in the tax rate to maintain the city's portion of the tax rate at the level that it has been at. In this particular case, we're not even going to be able to infill the full rate, which we'll show, but that just becomes an opportunity for local government units to maintain their portion of the tax rate through issuing a general obligation bond. And really, local governments have very few options for maintaining tax rate. If your CCD rate is maxed out, out 5 cents, that is one way that you can increase it. Another way is to issue bonds to increase the rate. If you flip to page 3, what page 3 will show you is in the column that says actual. So in 2025, for each one of the funds that's listed on the left-hand side, that is what the tax rate for each one of those funds is. When the assessed value bumps from 84 million to 107 million, I have estimated in the estimated column what your tax rate would decrease to. Again, AV's up, tax rate's down. That's how it works in Indiana. So if you would do nothing, then tonight, as far as issuing a bond, then the city's tax rate, portion of the tax rate, would go down to $3.43, which is a 79-cent decrease in the tax rate. That does not mean any more levy, because remember, AV's up, tax rate's down to get you the same levy of the budget, and that budget can only grow by 4%. So the levy will stay the same, and the AVs and tax rates change to get you to the levy growing by 4%. That's it. Yes.
Vocabulary. What is AV?
Assessed value.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So again, if you do nothing, tax rate drops 79 cents. But again, there is this opportunity for you to infill some of that 79 cents to try to maintain the city's tax rate at the $4.22 level. But unfortunately, in your case, you can't infill the full 79 cents because a couple different limitations in the Indiana tax law. One of them, if you flip to page 4, I'm going to try to stay as high level as possible, but please ask me questions. One of the main limitations with general obligation bonds, which general obligation bonds are just bonds that are issued payable from a property tax. A full property tax levy will pay for the bonds. And so with that, you have this called general obligation debt limit. And every city in Indiana has it, and it's 2% of their net assessed value divided by 3. And so for the city of Union City, $561,000 is the city's debt limit, because of that, again, is based off of your assessed value. So you can see the calculation there. So what we have proposed in front of you tonight is to stay within your debt limit. You can go bigger than that. If you had a big project that you had to fund, you can do a lease bond structure. I'm not going to go into that tonight because it gets complicated very fast. But just know, if you had a project that you really had to do for some reason, that you would have the ability to go beyond that level.
Like a fire station or town hall, those bigger
if you
buildings.
need to do something big, yeah. So we have structured the bond within your debt limit, and we have structured it at $560,000. So you'll see that in subsequent schedules. The other 2 thresholds do not matter for you in this transaction. We put this together just to make sure that we're looking at all the different thresholds that we have to look at for bonds.
Yeah, and the thresholds that Heidi's talking about are because they're property tax backed. So the first and most important one is just what's your debt limit, right? And it historically used to be just the 2%, and then the DLGF came in and decided that, or legislatively, that they take a third of that too. We're not really sure why, but in the infinite wisdom of the legislature, then they took a third of it. So that's probably the most important number when you start to look at these, kind of at a high level. And then the controlled project and the referendum, those normally come into play with much larger projects. And those are just, again, other levers that we have to check, and they run those numbers to make sure that we're still in compliance with those. And that again, is because they're property tax backed debt. If you had water and sewer revenue deals, none of this applies because they're revenue. And that's what you were talking about earlier, was kind of those different budgets. Mm-hmm. That's because one is property taxed, and then your water and sewer deals, those are all revenue deals. Those are user fee deals, right? And that's kind of the difference in our budget discussion. We work on both sides of those tables because that's normally in communities, they have all that. They have water, they have sewer, electric, they have, kind of capital project needs on the debt side. So, but that's what you were talking about.
So if you want to flip to page 5. So page 5, we call it sources and uses page. So essentially, when issuing a $560 million bond,
60,000.
560,000.
I
Thank
think
you.
they all just passed out, but you might need to give them a minute.
Sorry, I'm used to working in
You sucked all the
billions.
air out of the room.
Sorry, 60 million. We're gonna just change the city.
You guys could like build a whole new city. Don't tell them.
$560,000
Yes, we could get those buildings down with that.
farm out. That will net you 450,000 of net proceeds on that very top line item for projects. So that would be the net amount after cost of issuance that you guys have to work with to do projects. Again, we're structuring this within your debt limit. We have allowed for some standard cost of issuance that will get paid out of the bonds for bond placement fee and cost of issuance. And those costs essentially are in place for our fees to actually get the bond sold out into the market to make sure legally we've gone through all of the steps necessary. And again, that gets covered through the bond issue. So at a $560,000 bond issue, we have structured it at a 3-year term, which you'll see on the next page. But at this size bond issue, you get to an annual debt service tax rate of 17 cents. So if you might recall on the page prior, your tax rate will be dropping 79 cents, but this size bond issue will infill 17 cents. So the city's total tax rate will still drop, but if you issue up to your debt limit, it'll infill just a little bit of it at 17 cents. So it'll still drop by 60 cents or so. And then the annual debt service payment is $203,000. So if you flip to the next page, page 6, this is the amortization schedule. This is essentially like your mortgage, calculating like what your mortgage payment would be. What is the principal you owe? What is the interest you owe? And then what's your semi-annual payment and what's your annual payment that would be due? And then essentially when we go to budget every year, then we just add this in as the amount that you need payable from property tax. That much of your property tax gets allotted to your debt service line item that you'll have like a new fund for a bond payment fund. And then that's how these bonds will get paid.
And this type of bond, so the mayor affectionately calls it go bonds, which I think is funny because that started a long time ago. I've been doing this for quite a while with Heidi, and we usually see general obligation bonds, and then everyone's like, well, what are go bonds? I'm like, that's the same thing. Right? You can call it whatever you want, it's still a bond. But the nice thing for the city is we don't normally get to see like jumps in certified and assessed value that allow you to backfill in capital projects. And so we've worked and are working on several communities that are doing these deals as we speak. Approvals tonight, approvals last week, approvals next week. We have to close these bonds by the end of the year. The reason for that is because it's in your budget cycle. So they would need to levy that tax rates to pay the debt service or the principal and interest payments on those bonds starting in 26. So that's why we have to close on the bonds by the end of this year because it fits within that budget cycle. The other thing that's really been a benefit to communities, and this is where this conversation came up with the mayor, was if you can tie capital projects to these GO bonds or these GEO bonds that are meaningful to your community, you're not borrowing and taking money out of your general fund to pay those because you can issue these on a tax exempt basis, which lowers your interest rate. You can't really issue tax exempt bonds for operating and salaries per se. So what we'd like to see communities do is have this kind of be part of your long-term capital plan. And the reason why we were picking a 3-year term was because tie it to projects that are going to be out for 3 years, right? So we want you to spend that money. I've never been in a community where they're like, we don't have any capital projects. I don't know that we're going to be able to spend this money. That's never happened. I mean, I've yet, so I don't think I'm going to be wrong here, but good. And then what happens is when you close on those bonds, that money goes into a project fund at your bank. You can invest that money per the code. Indiana code allows you to invest that money, and then we want you to spend that money within a 2-year period would be nice. 3 years is fine. And then what I would like for you to do is have that be tied to a long-term capital plan for you so that in year 2, when you're coming up on 1 year left on your GEO bonds or your GO bonds, you start to think like, oh, wait, we've got some more projects we would like to do. They can play with the numbers again, and we'll see where you guys sit with your debt rate, and then we'll see what makes sense going forward. But it has been a very, very nice tool to put in your toolbox. It doesn't mean you have to go and use that tool every single year. No, you don't. You don't, but it allows you a tool. We've seen a lot of implications that are going to come down from SB1 or SEA1, same bill, different name. Again, lawyers live by acronyms because it justifies our existence. So that Senate bill is going to affect some of your revenues, right? I mean, you're going to see some shortfalls. So what we're hoping for in communities is that we can capture some of these so that you guys can have some long-term capital planning in your future. And I think this, again, is just one more tool. And that's why we're here tonight. So I don't know if that was helpful or...
That was very,
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
If you guys decide to move forward, essentially next steps would be for, we are working on what is it called, a term sheet and a request for proposal. The cities are able to send out requests for proposals to local banks to see if there's interest in purchasing these bonds. With a 3-year GO bond issue, there will definitely be interest. Hopefully we're down a little bit south of 4.35% that are in these numbers. The market is headed in the right direction, which is good for you. But we'll send out the RFP, give local banks and some regional banks a couple weeks to reply to it. They'll be due on a certain date and time. We'll analyze those, see which one have the best terms for the city. The mayor and Amy would select the purchaser of the bonds, and then we move to closing a couple weeks later. Again, by the end of the year, we'd get it done. So that's the method that we've discussed.
And the general obligation bonds, any property tax back bonds, are the most secure bonds you can issue in the state of Indiana. So it's a very attractive bond for banks because you're sitting under a 10-year term. Most banks kind of want 10 years or less, and you guys are sitting at a 3. And the size of this bond is actually really nice too for some of your banks. So it's an easy sell. I mean, I say that.
And she's a lawyer. She's a lawyer on the finance firm.
I'm going to document the sale, and she's going to sell it. She shouldn't have any trouble selling it.
Any questions? I know it's a lot of information, kind of fast at you guys when we haven't done bonds together in a while. But
the AV, is this the time period it's based on? Is it take into account the appeals process that's going on and the appeals that have been awarded in the last several months?
yeah, that's a great question.
I have no idea what those appeal numbers are at all.
Yes. So when county auditors go to certify their assessed values for 2026, which is what we are looking at, they always assume a certain percentage of the assessed value will be appealed. So there is a working list of appeals that they have that were due by a certain period of time. If they have not been through all of those by the time it's ready to certify, they put in a certain percentage for the whole county, 2 to 20% sometimes, just depending upon the trends. So there is some assumption in there for appeals in the certification.
I know
yes.
a lot of those came through early this fall.
Yeah.
With
the changes.
Significant changes, but I would have no idea what the overall numbers were.
Yes, good question.
Anecdotal.
Yeah. I mean, we saw 20% increases pretty much throughout the whole state in assessed values. So
and that, I guess part of my concern is that with those big jumps, the appeals process probably accelerated a little bit too, because a lot of appeals that wouldn't have happened before may have. But so I would expect a little heavier appeal, but I don't know how the results turn out. So.
And you're still coming way under what you could. I mean, we're bumping up against, 79. So that gives you a little.
My
this is
question got
conservative.
less concerning as
right.
as
Because you
as
as the
long
pages
as where we're
turned.
at. So there's not a problem in the payback.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if we did a 1-year structure, I mean, you just wouldn't be close to the 79 cents.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Does that change year to year?
It does not. The interest rate is fixed on the bond at the closing of the bond, so the payments are fixed.
Well, the reason why I said that is I was told that I could go over next year and appeal my taxes or whatever.
Okay.
Does that don't affect that?
So assessed values do change every year, but the tax rates are inverse of each other to get you to, in this case, a debt service payment. So if AVs go up again next year and you guys don't issue and tax rates come down, the debt service tax rate will come down to get you to the debt payment that's needed to cover this bond issue. So every year there are shifts in assessed values on most properties. Every 4 years, every single property in the county has to be touched as far as being looked at for reassessment. Each county does it a little bit differently. There's not a prescribed year one, you have to look at all commercial properties. Year two, it's ag. Year three, it's, you know, this, that, and the other. Every county is a little bit different on how it handles its reassessment. Some do it by like city and town.
So this pay period, or this 3-year period is based on a flat. Is it based on basically staying flat? I mean,
This change from this year is due to the state.
Well, I
changing
mean,
the
as far
cost
as
tables.
the on this bond,
Okay, ask your question one more time.
just the payback on this is under the assumption that basically the assessed value stays flat and the rate, in terms of
Correct.
what that rate is.
Yes.
Yes.
Which,
Yep.
as you
Assume
say,
zero growth.
we're still,
Yeah.
we've got so much leeway in the rate that it's
Right.
not particularly an issue, but it just
Yes. Yeah.
goes to show what's left in that rate.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
And we probably ought to clarify, this doesn't change what anybody pays in
No,
taxes.
no.
It does not change what people pay in taxes, and assessments are out of everyone's control, except the assessor and the state assessment division who changes tax code, or state assessment codes. So yes, those values can still change. You
Right.
guys only have control of what that rate is.
Right.
Good clarifying.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a
I
great
guess that's
question.
one of the things I don't want anybody
Yeah.
to say, they're raising my taxes.
No,
That'd be-
Yes.
absolutely not.
Everyone's assessed value
Of course,
more than
that's,
likely went up
we,
this year.
from time to time, we get accused of controlling the assessments or something.
Yes.
Oh, we can control
Right,
the rates.
assessments are out of all of our control.
But, we don't control the assessments, and they're generally with the caps, the way the cap system's been.
Yes,
The
Most
rate
people are at
doesn't
their
even really
caps,
matter
right.
on what you pay.
everyone in the city is at their caps.
Everybody's capped out, so it's.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you both very, very much.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
With that being said, I would open up to the floor for a motion for the second reading on the ordinance number 2025-12, which is for the general obligation bond.
I'll move we accept second reading of ordinance 2025-12 of the general obligation bond.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Amy, if you would, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Frias.
Yes.
All right, that leads us into new business, which are...
Mayor, if I may
Yes.
interject.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, we do have a gentleman from Defer Varan in lieu of Mara.
Hi.
Thank you.
I'm Gus, by the way. So Mara sent me with instructions for the procedure on the GO bond, and she said we need to accept the amended version first,
Okay.
and then we can adopt the ordinance as amended.
So have two readings based on this amended version.
No, you can just adopt it as amended.
So one,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
but incorporating the amendments.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just make,
let's reopen that, if you will. Let's strike the previous motion. And so we need another motion for the amended version of what is sitting in your...
Okay, so I move that we accept the
Yep,
amended.
we got a question real quick.
So, remind me what the amendments were?
we changed some of the project descriptions, and so there was a
Oh.
couple little cleanup updates from what was introduced to what was.
Which is
referred
read in the beginning of
Yes.
your
This is what we
ordinance
dis-
2025-13 with the sidewalks and the,
to. Yeah.
The sidewalks and the playground equipment?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Sorry. Thank you.
And just as another
Plus
clarifying
10.
thing, these funds in our hands, they're still appropriated by council,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So these projects, everything will come across your guys' desk just like anything else.
Still
will.
have
Yes.
to appropriate.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
All the invoices. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
like your normal thing. Yeah.
So that being said, sorry, Gary?
Okay, so I move that we accept the amended reading of ordinance 2025-12 general obligation bond
As amended.
as amended. Oh. yeah,
We have a
as- okay.
first, we have a second.
I will second.
And Amy, I apologize, one more time, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Frias.
Yes.
Now, Gus, is that?
We nailed it.
You nailed it.
Just give me your card.
Thank you. All right, and then ordinance number 2025-13, which is under new business, that's for the additional appropriations, which ties in the hearing that we conducted at the very beginning. So whereas I'll just read the initial, the lead in. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Union City, Indiana authorized the issuance of the City of Union City, Indiana General Obligation Bonds Series 2025 in one or more series in an original aggregate principal amount not to exceed $560,000 to pay for improvements to sidewalks, playgrounds at parks, walking trails, and then does include various equipment, property acquisition, which covered under the park, and then other equipment and maintenance items as determined by the city council for the payment of the cost of selling and issuing the bonds, the project, pursuant to bond ordinance number 2025-12 adopted by the council on October 27, 2025. So that encapsulates the purpose of the additional, or the hearing, public hearing, and the additional appropriation. So with that being said, I would hereby entertain a motion for approval.
Yeah, and on this
Yes,
one,
please.
you're gonna need to suspend the rules and adopt it at the same meeting. So you're gonna have first reading,
Yes, thank you for
motion and
clarifying.
adopt.
Yes.
Then you're gonna move on to second reading, make a motion to move to second reading, and it has to be unanimous of those present, and then you do another one.
I guess you know what, to make it official, I'll go ahead and finish reading it. So
Yes,
that'd be
please.
good. So whereas the council did not include the proceeds of the bonds in the regular budget for the year 2025, and whereas there are insufficient funds available or provided for in the existing budget and tax levy, which may be applied to the cost of the project, and the issuance of the bonds has been authorized to procure the necessary funds in an extraordinary emergency and necessity exists for the making of the additional appropriation set out herein, and whereas notice of a hearing on said appropriation has been published as required by law, and whereas such public hearing was held on October 27, 2025 at council chambers located at 111 North Columbia Street, Union City, Indiana, on said appropriation at which all taxpayers and interested persons had an opportunity to appear and express their views regarding such additional appropriation. Now therefore, it be ordained by the Common Council of the City of Union City, Indiana as follows. Appropriation of bond proceeds. The council hereby appropriates a sum not to exceed $560,000 out of the proceeds of the bonds, together with all investment earnings thereon, for the use of the board in paying the cost of the project. Such appropriation shall be in addition to all appropriations provided for in the existing budget and levy, and shall continue in effect until the completion of the project. Any surplus of such proceeds shall be credited to the proper fund as provided by law. All actions previously taken in connection with such appropriation, including publication of the notice of the public hearing, be and hereby are ratified and approved. A certified copy of this resolution, together with such other proceedings and actions as may be necessary, shall be filed. Section 2, effectiveness. This, oh mercy, my screen just flipped. Hold on, apologize. That's what you get for not having a hard copy. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage, if hereby passed by the Common Council of the City of Union City, Indiana, this 27th day of October 2025. Okay.
So what we did just now, before, is to, through the bond issue, right, is to get money, and now the appropriation ordinance says that that money now is going to be used for the general budget.
Correct, because it wasn't in the budget initially because we didn't even know about it.
We didn't have,
Right.
Now we do.
In 25, yeah.
Yeah, in this year.
Right.
Just making for the public.
We clarify. So I would hereby entertain a motion
First
I-
reading motion.
on first reading. Thank you.
I
First
will
reading.
make a motion, we approve the additional appropriations ordinance number 2025-13, first reading.
We have a first and we have a second.
I'll second.
All those, or Amy, if you would, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Heiss,
Yes.
Tito Frias.
Yes.
I would hereby entertain a motion for suspension of the rules.
I move we suspend the rules.
We have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Amy, if you would, once again, I apologize, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Frias.
Yes.
I would hereby entertain a motion on second reading for salary ordinance, or salary ordinance, mercy, additional appropriations ordinance, thank you, 2025-13.
I'll move we approve additional appropriations ordinance 2025-13 as presented on the second reading.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, there's Tito by here. Amy, if you would, one last time, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Burr.
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Frias.
Yes.
All right. All good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Thank you. Now moving along to the last item on new business, the salary ordinance for Operation Pullover, which is ordinance 2025-14. This is presented to council for approval to allow the Union City Police to work together with other departments in Randolph County for Operation Pullover. And you have the ordinance there before you. Basically working with the other departments for a traffic safety partnership.
Question: Do we know
Yes.
who those other departments are?
Great question.
All of the Randolph County Police Departments, Winchester, Randolph County, Lynn, Parker City, Farmland,
Okay.
they all participate. We historically have participated, but we've stopped over the last, I'm going to say, 6 to 8 years. And now we're going to re-engage the process, but the terms of the grant have changed and it's no longer a flat rate, it's a time and a half. The police officer's base rate.
Okay.
And 100% of this is reimbursable every quarter.
Because the thing said it was 4 departments. So Union City's one, and so
It's the Randolph County Police Departments, that's
Plus the sheriff's department.
plus the sheriff's department.
Any other questions or comments?
I'm not real keen on participating in Operation Pullover because basically they've always had a quota of stops. They don't do a quota of tickets, which is not legal. But in Indiana, it is legal to do a quota of stops. There's quite a few states that is not legal. I have a problem with that myself, but with some of our former department members have. But
Well, I mean,
that being
It's-
said, that's an operational decision. It's not necessarily my purview in this meeting. But I'll voice my concern.
no,
Can I ask
duly,
a question?
duly noted. Yes, you may.
It's been a few years ago that the sheriff's department come over here and was pulling everybody over and everybody was raising hell about it. Is that what we're talking about?
That was an OPO process, yes, and they were over here because our department was not participating.
Got you.
So since we're participating, it would negate the necessity for that, you think?
Theoretically, that would be correct. It would be our personnel operating under the OPO process.
what's OPO?
Operation Pullover.
Pull it,
Oh.
yeah.
It's just another.
So now it's locals that's
liquor
gonna be
ticket
stopping us.
type pullover. It's more of a seatbelt operation, generally centered around the holidays. holiday weekends,
Seatbelt.
So we can cramp everybody's style.
Drive sober.
No kidding.
Well, you can't have it both ways. I will say that you
I
can't
don't
have
care.
complaints about safety, but also then not do anything to create safety.
I don't care because I'm a religious seatbelt wearer and I
Yeah,
don't
me
drink
too.
and drive, so.
I found out losing a classmate when I was in high school about your seatbelts.
Yeah.
So,
My car bugs me if I don't use my seatbelt.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll say one more thing, this would have to be passed as an emergency as well, because it takes effect November 1st.
Okay. So if they were to approve, it has to be,
Suspend.
yeah, suspension of rules again.
I will move that we accept salary ordinance update for Operation Pullover, ordinance 2025-14 on by title only, first reading.
Do we have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
You got it, baby?
Yeah.
Jason?
Yeah.
Amy, if you would?
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy,
No.
Jason Brewer,
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
I'll vote yes only because I will support our officers. I don't
Tito?
support the concept, but it is a yes.
And Tito Frias.
Well, you're making it difficult. Yes.
Now, suspension of rules doesn't require unanimous
No.
vote. does
Yes,
it?
of those present.
Okay,
yes.
I thought it was the majority still, because we had this discussion with
I think it's unanimous.
Defer
It's
Haran.
unanimous.
It
Of
is
those
unanimous?
present.
Okay.
To suspend. yeah.
Okay, to suspend,
Yeah.
okay. So.
Just to suspend.
Correct,
Yeah.
not to vote.
So that, I mean, yeah, can't have a second reading.
You can have, no, your next motion will be a motion to suspend the rules. So you can make a motion to suspend the rules and then see
Let's try.
how the vote goes.
And then vote.
So
Oh,
no vote
then
the
you,
second
then,
time. Right.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
The no vote doesn't stop you.
The
Yeah,
suspension has to be,
yeah, the no vote would, if you don't get a unanimous consent to suspend the rules, that's where it ends.
that's where it ends, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So you
Okay,
can still make
that's,
a
sorry,
motion to
thank you,
suspend the
thank
rules.
you.
Yeah.
So, I would hereby entertain a motion for suspension of the rules.
I will make a motion to suspend the rules for salary ordinance number 2025-14.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second it.
Amy, if you would?
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer,
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
No.
So there you go. All right. RQAW, Professional Services Fee Proposal for UC Drinking Water Improvements, Amendment 3. You guys should have this in your packet as well. This is for the RQAW. You see the verbiage they provide you for the drinking water improvements. And this is referred to the South Loop, what was originally being called the South Main Water Loop Project. Do we have any questions or comments on this?
This amendment, someone else has a question, go for it.
That's just stating that was the amendment that covers some engineering changes, some engineering cost changes, is that correct?
Correct, it's the realignment when we had to move to the Wellborn Farm instead of the Edwards Farm.
Correct. So they had to change the route of the line, if you will, because of the way the easements would enable it.
Basically, someone didn't agree with.
They didn't want the line under their,
Under
correct,
their-
correct.
yeah.
So we went with the adjoining property owner that did.
And is that increasing costs?
Yeah, right, yeah, under, where you see the land acquisition and right-of-way engineering and staking. They both went up.
But there's contingency money in phase 3 to address the increases. It doesn't change what
The overall scope of
the
original
overall
was-
scope is.
Okay.
If there are no questions or comments, I would entertain a motion.
I'll move we accept RQAW Professional Services Fee Proposal for Union City Drinking Water Improvements Amendment 3 as presented.
Do we have a first? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Two by here again. Amy, if you would, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer,
Yes.
Tim Heiss,
Yes.
Tito Frias.
Yes.
All right. Do we have any visitors wishing to address the council? If so, please stand, state your name, address, and state your business.
just got it. John Russ, 120 Pleasant Drive. Did you give me a price on the solar panels, how much it costs?
I don't have a price on that.
Yeah, it was for all services, including contracting, mapping, the equipment and the installation, everything. And for the 3 farms, it was 3.4 million. So that covered all 3 sections, which average cost is between 800,000 and 1.2 million for a typical solar farm. So it was within what is usual and customary. So, and we're tracking the reduction in our electrical usage, or actually what we're paying. So
Is it working out?
so far, we didn't start till Q2 of this year to show the difference between last year and this year. Q2 was 15,000, third quarter was 22,000, and then we're anticipating a little increase for Q4 and Q1 of this coming year, because the goal is about 100,000 in savings each year. And then also we've already applied for, well, not have applied, because the project was officially done this year, we couldn't apply for our tax credits, which we're trying to get 1.some odd million back in tax credits. But that would be filed the beginning of next year, by next May. So that helps offset the cost of the project as well.
So there's a payment on that every year, is that what you're saying, or?
Yeah, we pay on that every year, but at the same time we have a cost savings every year. So yeah, that's in
That's
essence
what I wanted to know, if you was ahead of the game or not.
Well, that we're in process of trying to get out of the game. Good question.
The other thing I got is, who represents the park and the housing on the north side of the park? Who represents that on the council?
Probably me. North side of the park.
Huh?
Me.
Jason.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably me.
yeah.
That's 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave them rocks up to you. I don't get paid to do this, but you know what I'm talking about.
Conklin's?
Yeah. I can't get no satisfaction, so I'll leave it up to you. But I do have one question though. The south side has already been filled in with rocks. Who did that?
I do not know.
Probably the park crew, I'm guessing. Right, Steve?
I'd like to have an answer on that.
I'm not sure where he's talking about.
The entrance to would be the what?
Paul Keck Drive down at the end there on the north
The
side.
north center entrance.
That was a storm water repair that was made to that stormwater line that runs up through there. So yeah, our guys did that.
They did the rocks.
Correct. Our guys, yeah.
There's a pile left over. Why couldn't they just take them over and pour them in there?
It's being addressed by the county in partnership with the city at some point in time. Hopefully very soon, it will be addressed. It just hasn't happened yet.
I just wanted to know because I know that's in the city where I'm talking about.
It's still technically a county ditch. Is what
So you had to
that's
get approval
classified.
on the other side, did you? To pour all them rocks in there?
Yes, we did.
Okay. That's all I got. Up to you, Jason.
Well, date of the next city council meeting is Monday, November 10th at 6 p.m. The date of the next Board of Public Works is also Monday, November 10th at 1:45 p.m. And the date of the next econ redevelopment meeting, pending agenda, will be Wednesday, November 19th at 6 p.m. I would hereby entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We have a first, and we have a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. What a break.